got the first ban, they've got the first pick, and so far things are looking very similar for the bans nearly every time. Anivia, Malphite, Yorick, Nunu, both of these teams really sticking with what they know will hurt the most, what will cut the deepest. And Yorick is a fantastic laner, fantastic top laner despite his recent nerfs, and Nunu is just so often with that support Nunu, you see it these days, and he's a boss.
Yeah, no, they're definitely really strong picks and bans. And Zyra being banned out, so not going to take the risk with it, just going to get rid of it. Alistar is open, though, so we'll see whether or not Dignitas bans that out or leaves it open. There are still a couple of champions. They will ban out the Rumble, so Alistar is open. Dynamic will almost surely pick that up. So
Shen's open.
Shen is open, too. That is a concern for them. And, Crumbs, we'll see. I think it really comes down to whether or not Zion Spartan thinks he can shut down Shen. And Shen's very difficult to shut down. Like, Crumbs will be very safe in that top lane. You don't have to worry about Shen in the top lane, and then he's going to be able to help the other lanes and counter out some of that aggression from Alistar. So a really difficult decision for them right now. And kind of a nice job from Dignitas, actually, to leave that open. So they have two really strong picks left.
They're in a similar situation as to how they were game number 2 against B Playground, where Shen and Alistar are both open. Well, Dynamic, if your first pick isn't either one of those two, Dignitas will grab both. They will.
And now, because of that Alistar pick, they can grab Shen and Maokai. So get two really strong picks here. They're going to have a really strong jungle as well. They could actually grab Ezreal if they decide to. Ezreal will just be, phenomenal as always, and able to work with almost any bot lane. So we'll see where they go with this, but I would expect the Maokai pick.
So, also, Dynamic, they managed to get the first pick Alistar in game number 1, but ended up going with
They could Skarner too, actually.
They could, yeah. But Dynamic, they got the first pick Alistar, ended up going with the jungle Nocturne. It's just, it's like, you know what, we're fine, but there you go, actually taking it out of the hands. Dignitas will actually grab the Nocturne and the Shen. Shen pretty much decided he's going to be top lane, Nocturne there in the jungle, and with that Lux every single effing time.
Yeah, so we'll see now if they decide to grab the Lulu again. Didn't quite work out for them that well last game, but the big thing is it kept it away from Dignitas. And Dignitas, the Lulu lane, was one of the lanes they were able to win in game 1, so they were able to put some pressure on there. We'll see if they do that again. But having Nocturne and Shen is a really nice global team, and any team fight away from top lane or even at top lane, you can win very easily. You can just force some advantages. So we'll see where they decide to go with that.
I would like to actually see Blitz down bot lane with an AD and just have Alistar just running amok in the jungle. That would be a wonderful, wonderful setup to actually have. But Dynamic, they're still considering their options, and Graves. He's an AD that they're very familiar with. Go ahead and stick with it. There you go. Gonna go with the you got the Eve placeholder, so we'll find out hopefully soon what that actually is.
Yeah, so Graves is definitely a really strong pick. I don't know. I'm kind of curious. I guess maybe it's Maokai.
Let's find out.
They want to go Graves, Alistar,
Lee Sin.
Okay. So they're going with Lee Sin. So it is probably going to be a Graves Alistar, though Lee Sin could go top lane. Lee Sin is a very safe laner, but not usually the first thing that comes to mind when I want to lane against Shen. Right. So I'm expecting it'll probably be in the jungle. But we'll have to see where they decide to go with that. It could be a top lane, though. And Zion Spartan, he lanes almost anything. So, we'll see where he goes with that. Right now, though, Dignitas, they have a very tanky team. I would kind of expect to see a Rise here. The only concern is that they're going to be going up against an Alistar. And Alistar's initiation could be very strong. If they have an AoE team, they could try and shut down like Rise early on. So they're going to actually go with that Ezreal and Lulu again. So they have that flexibility in the last pick. They still have some openings where they could go with the Rise, and now having the Lulu to support a Rise could be fantastic. Having that double shield will be very strong for them, but they know they can win that bottom lane. With that Ezreal to Lulu, they can get some nice harass regardless of which lane they're going against.
So now the only thing that needs to be left to decide here is the mid for Dignitas. So, we mentioned, the Rise, that kind of pick may not actually work out here. What other options are there available? Because you still have the Ahri open. You got champs like Cassiopeia open. You also got champs like Orianna open if you're going to be having champs like Nocturne and Shen actually go into their front line.
Yeah, if they decide to actually send Lee Sin up top, that could work for them. They could decide to get an Aurelia and Oriana right here. That would be a really strong combo. They would have lots of AoE damage. They would have really strong team fights. So we'll have to see where they go with that. Vladimir, though, that'll be kind of interesting. I feel like they need lots of AoE damage, and they are going to go massive AoE. Okay, wow.
Ooh, double
so
AoE.
here's the thing. Right now, Dignitas' team is pretty short range. They're all going to be naturally be grouping up and close together. So Dynamic, they want to be able to abuse that fact, and Vladimir's the best champion at doing that. Kennen as well. They have the double AP. They can just force a fight with Alistar, then just absolutely crush them, and we'll see how that kind of works out. Lee Sin as well can force them to engage on him, force everyone of Dignitas to kind of clump, and then open up opportunities for Dynamic to really quickly win that fight.
Yeah, so now you're just trying to think of champs that you can try and counteract this. And like a champ that immediately comes to mind is Galio with that taunt. Like in the mid, he's got very high magic defense, just
Man,
naturally how he builds.
It's been so long since I've seen a Galio pick, though.
I think it may fit here though.
Yeah, no, it could potentially. I do like the TF though, and so they are going with a huge global comp.
Yeah.
Galio, it's been so long, and Galio has been a very strong pick, but he does struggle in some situations. And right now, Kennen isn't the most aggressive laner right now. He's kind of taken a step back. Usually, you go Galio if you're really concerned that someone's going to be a really aggressive laner, and then the next thing is if you know that the enemy carry is going to be very squishy in short range. Well, Graves fits that mark, but not the AP carry. So a lot of times you can go Galio against like a Cassiopeia or an Ahri, and then ult in when they're close range, and you just completely burst them down. And that's usually the best opportunity to go Galio. Been a while since he's been in play. Other AP champions have a little bit more damage or utility or something. So definitely a smart pick on Dignitas' part. We'll see where they go with it, but the AoE is really nasty for them. But having those globals, they can try and force early fights, try and pick people off. They have so much map control, and that's going to be huge. Shen can constantly split push. They can try and stall off the game some.
Now we are back in Champ Select, but I'm not going to switch over to it. Saw it happen last game, with the bans and the secret messages.
Aurelia Nidalee Ash, that doesn't mean anything. INA? I guess, is that the Irish Northern, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Read the rest of it.
I didn't read the other one. I didn't want to read the other one.
Now you realize.
I didn't want to read the other one.
You read too late, didn't you?
I read what?
You read too late.
What do you mean?
Never mind.
No, I read it earlier.
Keep it, Keep it classy. Keep it classy, Dynamic, and Dignitas. Keep it classy. So while they're going through the rest of those picks, so Lee Sin in the jungle, he's got a pretty decent speed.
Yeah.
But he is like one of those champs though that really needs to actually get out there. He actually needs to get those ganks. He needs to get those kills in order to just spiral him out. If he doesn't get those opportunities, there's possibilities for him to really fall behind.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the case. Lee Sin does need an early advantage. He's very capable of taking it. He's very fast. He's very aggressive. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, I mean, if Dignitas is able to pressure the game, there might not be any kills for Lee Sin. So he might fall behind a little bit. I don't know. That could be tough because he could be too squishy. If he tries to engage, he's going to die pretty quickly. So we'll have to see how that works. He can try and counter out some of Nocturne's ganks a little bit. It's just that right now, it'll be tough. Like Dignitas has just such a huge early lead. Dynamic really just wants to sit back and play passively and farm. Dynamic, they could go for an early invade and try and steal the red, though. So we'll see if that happens. That would shut down Nocturne a little bit, shut down some of his ganking potential, try and slow down his jungle so you don't quite see those early ganks. Generally speaking, their lanes are very safe. Like, Vladimir should be safe top lane. He shouldn't have to worry about TF coming in the top lane or Nocturne coming in the top lane.
Right.
However, a little bit later on, it could be a concern where Vladimir tends to push the lane. And so if he pushes the lane against Shen, since Shen doesn't push at all, then it might open up opportunities for Dignitas.
But there are opportunities much later on for Shen to itemize to actually go in for that push. If an opportunity comes up for Dignitas where they're able to actually get a split push going, you can get that Wit's End, you can get the Ionic Spark, where Crumbs can actually just really be a very aggressive force to just push that wave.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. I don't know. We'll just have to see. I think by pushing, it does open up more opportunities for Dignitas where they can leave the lane. They can be a little bit more comfortable with Crumbs leaving the lane. But I don't know, we'll have to see. He is right now going for an exhaust, which is kind of interesting. They want to make sure that they can shut down Graves, but it's not that big of a deal. The big thing with the exhaust, though, is it allows them to follow up a Vladimir. So Vladimir, if they ignite Vladimir, yes, they're going to be able to get more damage. They can ignite through the pole. However, Vladimir pulls, he walks away. With the exhaust instead, you exhaust, he pulls, he's still slowed, he's not moving anywhere. So it maybe will help them get some ganks. They have 3 exhausts on their team currently, so we'll see if they swap that up. But 3 exhausts and 2 ignites. Those are some really aggressive summoners.
And I can tell I think also a lot of those exhausts are thinking about later on in a team fight phase, because exhaust on Kennen, when he's in the middle of your team, when he has that ult up, can just absolutely mean the world. There's so much damage in that ult. It's such a huge AoE that at the very least, if you're gonna be stunned, at least you get the exhaust on, ensure that A, Kennen's not leaving, B, you're not taking as much damage as you normally would, and see that when the time actually does come, when the stuns come off, you can just secure that kill.
Yeah. No, we'll have to see, how they decide to work that. It is interesting. You usually think of exhaust for physical carries, but it does do a lot to those AP carries, particularly if you can target their burst. Vladimir, it could shut him down a little bit in fights, but not as much as Kennen. The big thing is the armor and magic resist shred that the exhaust provides could allow them to burst down Vladimir. But regardless of the exhaust or not, having any AoE damage with Vladimir is huge. And people forget a lot of times how much damage Vladimir amps you up. It's like 12-15% or something like that. There you go. I just forgot it. But it's a lot, and that's it's really a lot in team fights. If you can hit a number of targets and then follow it up with any sort of burst damage, you're just going to evaporate. So we'll see what kind of pressure they can put on top lane. Shen does do well against Vladimir, so Shen can push him around a little bit. We might even see a swap like in game number 1. It's a similar setup, or I guess this is in the previous match. So Meet Playground versus Dignitas. We could see a swap again. They have that Shen versus Vladimir pick. They have the Lulu Ezreal. They could do it again. They could send Lulu Ezreal top and then send Shen bottom and just try and take down that early tower.
And here's the thing too, like if you have that kind of setup, you already know that you're not if you're going to be in a 2v1 situation, well, what could make that situation even better? I would say, how about someone who can teleport in from behind tower and get kills? Oh wait, there's a Twisted Fate here.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a nice opportunity for them. The only concern that I think they might not do it is because Dynamic has Graves. And having the Graves pick, it allows Dynamic to very easily counter out any pushes. They can push more aggressively against Shen in the bottom lane than Ezreal and Lulu can push in the top lane. So that could be a serious issue for them. You don't want to try these pushing strats if you're going to fall behind in the pushing. Last game, it worked out because they were even. And pushing evenly, one, it prevented Dynamic from pulling ahead ever. So Dynamic, they were constantly concerned about their towers going down, and so they never had an opportunity to take any early advantages against Dignitas. Then they both were even in towers, so it's an even gold game. This game, Dynamic, they could maybe take that bot turret faster than Dignitas could. So that could be a concern. But we'll see how they negotiate this if Dignitas does decide to do the swap again.
All right, so now we're going to be loading on in. We will see no dirty words coming in on those bans. Not for this game at the very least. So, like I said, keep it classy, guys. But as we're loading on in, we're going to just go ahead and recap the picks and bans and the order just for you here for a real quick second. So, Dynamic there with the bans, Anivia, Malphite, and getting rid of the Zyra this time around. Dignitas, tried and true, stick with what you like. Yorick, Nunu, Rumble. Once again, same order, same bands. First pick on that Alistar here for Dynamic, and a TF going to be the last pick here for Dignitas.
Oh, and what a classy TF skin!
I love that. I love that skin.
Seducing Evelyn, just what a baller.
That is such a good skin. It really is a nice skin. It really is.
Nice little sport jacket. It's actually, I think, a smoking jacket, so he's going to be fine. But we'll see, how Dignitas can pursue this game. Their level 1 is very strong, but so is Dynamics, so they're going to have to watch out for Alistar in particular. they'll probably play kind of defensively. But Dignitas, we'll see. They might actually be able to, if they sit up in the red bush. Nope, they're going down to blue. So I was going to say, if they sat up in the red jungle, they could wait in that one bush that a lot of times there's fights on where actually Dynamic's pinging. And then they have enough burst damage that with Nocturne, his AoE damage is actually really high. If Dynamic decided to check red, they would just walk right into it and probably get themselves killed. So Dignitas not looking for an early fight. They're just going to sit back defensively, allow Dynamic to just do whatever they feel like. They have the ward up there, and Nocturne could decide to engage and steal their red if Dynamic goes up to his.
So Dynamic now making their way around. Pings going down on the red. I think actually the bush behind the red, but I don't think this ward is actually going to spot them out. Once they actually start making their way down, we will see, no, the range is not enough. It just barely covers that corner. But there you go, Dynamic now making their way here into that bush. It can be a pretty huge ambush spot as we've seen earlier on tonight. But it doesn't look like Dignitas are going to be quite falling for it here. They're staying the course. Get your defense going. Make sure that at the very least you can secure your blue. Get some laser dancing here.
Oh, yeah, and Shen is recalling, so Shen is going to be going top lane.
Yep.
So no lane swaps here. We'll see if Dynamic decides to do one of their own, but they'll probably send their bot lane down bot. No, Vladimir's going bot. So I think I don't know if they expected that Dignitas would maybe swap lanes, or if they just wanted to do a lane swap of themselves, but they will be okay, and they do see Graves is up top, so Dignitas knows that Graves and Lulu are going top, and they know that Vladimir is going bottom as they're stealing this red. So Lee Sin going to take the red, will have a nice advantage, and actually holding on to the smite, so Atlanta going to have a nice little lead there.
Yep. So, but despite the information that Dignitas received, Crumbs is still staying the course, still staying around, and may actually see him in lane. And right now, this is Dynamic's time to move on out. Pixel, no. Did get the of course, you're only level 1. You only have one skill. You can't headbutt and pulverize.
Wasting the exhaust, so I'm a little bit surprised. Pixel, as he taunted, throwing off that exhaust. Nocturne and Lulu now, because Lee Sin did sit up top, Shen was baiting him out. And so Crumbs, he was playing up front. He had the taunt. He knew he was going to be safe. But baiting Lee Sin to stay there, it allowed Nocturne to not only steal the red, but also run up and steal the wraiths as well. Wow. So really nice play from Dignitas. Cutie Pie just absolutely crushing Zion Spartan in the bottom lane, just way ahead in that lane already. So we'll see, how Zion Spartan can play in this lane, how defensive he can be, but they will be able to push top with that Graves. Dynamic can maybe take down an early tower.
We'll see. It's a race now. It's a full-on race. Who can take that first tower? And like we've mentioned before, Graves, this is something he's incredibly strong in. He has that speed. He has that attack speed steroid. He's got his passive too, helps him stay in the lane just a little while longer. But we have seen, the Ezreal Lulu actually be just as effective in taking down that tower. Like last time we saw it's just pretty much spot on, like same time.
Yeah, no, it can be very strong. It was actually Corki last time, wasn't it?
It was Corki. Yeah, that's my bad. It was
so,
Corki Lulu.
Corki has a little bit more AoE damage than Ezreal does. He's able to clear the lanes a little bit more effectively. And so, as a result, we'll see how they can push in. But all of a sudden, they have a huge wave pushing up. And Vladimir has to play very defensively. There's the taunt from onto Zig. And that's actually the strength of having Shen in that 2v1 lane, is he can sit back, farm defensively, but he shuts down the push. Because if you try and push into him, you're going to get some quick damage. Atlanta trying to get in on Cutie Pie will actually engage on Patoy, but the turnaround with the exhaust, Zion Spartan chasing him down, but they're going to be fine. Nice defensive play, and Nocturne in the meantime is in that top lane.
Crumbs is actually getting very low, is ignited, but here comes Dominate to see if he can't make the best of the situation. Zig will actually be a victim of the fear. He's going to be walking around just for a second. Does manage to flash out. Dominate may not be able to connect with this, but Pixel with a well-timed headbutt or pulverize can go ahead and just clear the distance for himself. There you go. Very well done.
Yeah, so he will be safe, but again, that is one of the strengths of the Shen against in the 1v2 is you can't push a lane very easily against Shen because he's just going to taunt you. But we'll see. Graves is very safe at pushing a lane. Nocturne sitting down bottom, but they have him caught in the ward, so they know he's there. They're going to be fine. And in the meantime, continued harass against Zion Spartan. We'll force him back, and they'll try and push their own wave bottom.
There's a slight advantage right now in the pushing for the bot lane. The tower's just a little bit weaker, but you do see Zion Spartan actually making his way back, picking up that Doran shield. wants to be a little bit safer from that harass, but recognizing Scar is actually a little bit low on mana, Atlanta makes a nice little appearance, does get pinged out. Dignitas knows he's there, but he's not going to go follow up with that harass. It's a little bit too risky.
Yeah, and so Zig just constantly wearing down the turret, keeping nice positioning now in Crumb. So he knows the score. He knows he needs to take a step back. But Ezreal and Lulu as well. So it seems like we're going to have even towers. Dignitas might actually take the tower down a little bit sooner, even though Zion Spartan has that AoE clearing. Dignitas is doing a really nice job pushing it, while Nocturne is pressuring top. And so by Nocturne pressuring the top, it slows down their push a little bit. They need to play a little bit more defensively, and he can just constantly harassing Zig out of lane.
So yeah, you look at the progress here. It's night and day now at this point. Cutie Pie just getting so much harassed down here. You do have Dominate actually sticking a little bit close by here. Headbutts into the forest wall. Crumbs is a little bit weakened there, but Dominate making it appear that guys, remember, back off. And Pixel is actually out of mana, so no CC coming in from the cow for the next engage here.
Yeah, and actually Shen is going back. Oh, good. He stopped the recall. I was going to say, because he's about to lose his tower if he decides to go back. But Lee Sin wants to make sure they can take this down very quickly. Will come in, is tanking it. The fear from Dominate will proc, but not that big of a deal. Zig gets off some great harass, but actually taking no tower shots. So he's able to get that dash off, and they're very easily able to slowly wear it down. So just constantly pushing from both lanes. And so, again, talking about it in game number 1, Dignitas is going to get theirs first, but even so, it's an even push. Dynamic's going to be able to pick up theirs as well. So having the top lane down versus the bottom lane, usually you would expect that the top lane is a little bit more valuable early on, because the bottom lane, the issue with it is that you can still, if you take down the bottom lane, it might shut down your own AD carries farm. And so now all of a sudden, the lane is going to push all the way back to the second tier turret, and that's going to prevent Cutie Pie from opportunities to farm it. It makes it a little bit more difficult for him. Usually with the top lane, you're okay with the top carry not farming, or you're okay with the top carry pushing to the second turret, just because there's not as much pressure down bottom. But because there's usually a little bit more of a presence from the team down bottom, because it's Dragon Central, that means that they might be putting themselves behind. So we'll see. But the first tower is down for Dignitas. If they can stop this tower going down for Dynamic in the top lane, that could be a nice little advantage for them.
Yep. And in the meantime, Science Spartan, he's got a nice juicy wave to go ahead and farm off of there for a time being. And also, if you take a look at the what were supposed to be the two solo laners, you do see a little bit of a farm advantage here for Crumbs. But we'll also look how Zion Spartan is itemizing. Double Doran's shield. Actually went back and bought that second one. But thinking, like, Cutie Pie, I think you're actually going to be staying down here and buy. I think you're going to continue to push the wave. And you know what? He's right. They're returning right now. Atlanta grabbing the red for himself as well. And you also see Zig making a transition on down. We may see a Dynamic try to push mid in response.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that they decided to stop pushing the top lane. So,
yeah.
I was kind of wondering if maybe they're going to try and send Vladimir up top, and they don't want him to push to the second turret. They want to have Vladimir be able to farm still. So, it's a slight early gold lead for Dignitas, and 2k gold ahead, but no kills. That's pretty impressive, and now they're going to be able to actually pressure this dragon. They do have almost a Wriggles onto Nocturne, so he's going to get some nice damage there. Top turret will go down if Dynamic decides to take it, but even so, 2k gold lead and the dragon, Dignitas will take that any day.
Yeah, should be pretty fine. Should be pretty easy. There is no coverage here coming in from Dynamic, so that's pretty easy. But in response, the top turret does go fall. But yeah, tower for a dragon, it's pretty good.
Yeah, tower for a dragon in a tower, basically. So
yeah,
even though that tower was a little bit ago, now we'll see whether or not Vladimir decides to split up top and they send down Graves and Alistar bot again. But I don't know. We'll have to see. They could have a nice little advantage because Dignitas took down the bot turret, and that could allow Graves to farm freely against Ezreal. But in the meantime, they might actually try and gank TF, and TF is pretty vulnerable in that lane. Alistar can dive it, Dominate, spotting them out, so they will be safe. They will back off, and Scar will be able to live once again. Yeah, plan's a little bit blown there. The Alistar will not get that headbutt, will not be, not get exactly what he wanted, but there are 4 members of Dynamic here. They may just muscle out the mid turret straight out. Yeah, and the issue is TF's wave clearing capabilities. And Zig, he's too short range. He's just going to be very vulnerable here. So Scar all day can just clear those waves. We'll see how Dignitas responds. Cutie Pie is coming down the mid lane, so they can try and maybe pressure a fight as Alistar has recalled.
Atlanta starting up onto that blue, though, may just very well keep it for himself. Hasn't been a whole lot of action, so he may just hold on to it just to keep his farm up, just try to compare with Dominate. And yep, there we go. He's got his own double buff. So we take that back with him. But now you see Dignitas. Is like, yeah, that 4-man push, we kind of liked it. I think we're just going to go ahead and do it for ourselves. In the meantime, you also have Science Spartan continue his farm down bot, Crumbs up top. And you know what? There's the thing, though. Shen, he's building health. He's building his GP10s. He's itemizing okay considering where he is. Science Spartan, he's going to be needing damage pretty soon.
Yeah. Now, the Doran's is very nice against an AD. It helps shut down a lot of the damage. It makes you a little bit safer in lane. However, it slows him down. It's not even a heart of gold. So, Shen has a huge gold advantage right now, despite, a small CS difference with the team objectives and, with that gold. How much is it? Almost 1,000 gold on Shen.
Yeah, it's about 800.
Despite the fact that they're, basically even in CS. So that's really worked out well for Dignitas. We'll see how they can continue to pressure it. But the big thing, ooh, Shen working towards that Sunfire. So now he can push the lane a little bit more easily, and he can really abuse Vladimir in that top lane.
Yep, and also remain tanky for those later fights on. And he'll still be able to be a decent force here in the team fights coming up, unlike Zion Spartan.
Yeah.
Who's just got 2 shields, just one on each hand.
One nice thing about taking early towers, though, in map objectives is you have a little bit more gold than you would normally expect to at this point. So 11 minutes in, he doesn't have a lot of farm. The kick from Atlanta after the flash, though, Paradoxical actually not throwing off the ultimate, can't quite get the kill, and Shen saving Scar's life. So having those early towers, Vladimir has a little bit more gold than he would normally have at only 70 CS. So, that's definitely a nice thing. By taking any sort of map objectives, you're kind of holding up the rest of your team.
Nice headbutt pulverize on the Cupid there in the bot lane. And the Graves ult chunking him out huge. But they will just go ahead, fall on back, not want to take any more turret aggro. And just be happy, be content with the fact that it's like, yeah, Ezreal half health right now. It's a pretty good position to be in.
Yeah, and Lulu isn't even level 6 yet, but she'll hit level 6 shortly. The big thing is that they were trying to chunk down Ezreal and force him out of lane. They weren't quite able to do it. I don't think they expected to get a kill, but if they could force him out of lane, that's a victory for them. They weren't quite able to. Ezreal's safe now. He will generally be safe enough, so he doesn't have to worry about them engaging, and he can push back. In the meantime, Dominate chasing down Zion Spartan, gets off the fear, gets off some nice damage, and again, just trying to force down that Vladimir farm.
Yeah, it's a pretty common sight here for Zion Spartan. Pretty much all games, like, well, I'm at a tower and I'm farming. What else is new? Damn. So even in mid lane, he just cannot escape it. But you also look at Zig. He's doing a pretty good job here, looking to freeze the lane, looking to keep it back as far as possible, so that the waves will just continue to just flood on backwards. And just really deny a lot of farm there from Dignitas. They'd have to go ahead and look elsewhere. Cutie Pie is just going to have to start farming up those jungle creeps, maybe even head up top lane just to try and recoup his loss.
And there's the issue with taking down the early bot turret. And so now Alistar, whenever the minions are about to hit the tower, he can just tank it for a second, wait for their next wave, and just constantly hold that lane down there. And there's just nothing that they can do about it. So Cutie Pie, as a result, his farm is doing really nice right now. He's ahead of Graves, actually. He's doing really well. He's actually building an Infinity Edge so that they know they have enough damage. Because Shen, doesn't have that much damage right now, Nocturne has an okay amount, but they know that they need that sustained damage to take down those frontline tanks. So going with that Infinity Edge, even so, his farm is going to slow down. So they need to continue to put pressure objectives around the map and not allow Graves to just catch up and pass Ezreal.
Crumbs' ult is also still down, so if Dignitas decides to go ahead and go after this tower here in the mid, they're going to be down 1 ninja. But in the meantime, you also have Zig still looking to free farm everyone from Dignitas. They got vision on pretty much everybody until now. Ignite actually going down on Crumbs. He's going to dash away. And with that money, Zion Spartan's been saving up. I was like, you know what? I really need damage. How about the best one of the best starting AP items in the game, Needlessly Large Rod? That's going to get him really steamrolling.
Yeah, and he can be build into a fast Zonius with it and be extremely aggressive. And the big thing is TEF is going to be very vulnerable to backline harass if Vladimir can just pressure him and run straight at him in fights. So having an early Zonius will allow him to do that. He could also go for a Rabadon's, though. If he just wants to just have massive AoE damage, he could sit back, play defensively, just throw off his ultimate and just let it do its damage. So it's really going to be very dangerous for Dignitas. But we'll see how they can try and pressure him. We haven't really seen a lot of pressure from TF and Nocturne yet, but now it's starting to get to the point where we might start seeing those ganks. I think part of the issue is those early towers.
Yeah.
They haven't been able to push against them. And so having those early towers down, no one's ever in lane against each other. So Ezreal and Graves, they're never in lane at the same time. That means that there's just not any opportunities for Dignitas to use their global ultimates. So what they need to do is just aggressively push the towers, get some good ward coverage in order to take advantage of that.
And also, we've discussed this before, too. And these lanes are relatively difficult to gank. I mean, Vlad is like, well,
Yeah.
I'll just pull, I'll just get away. Graves almost always with the Alistar, except for right now. So if they can manage to actually figure out where Graves is, that may be good, actually a good opportunity for a gank. But unfortunately, though, the pressure in mid is still ongoing.
Yeah, so we'll see how much pressure they can do. Crumbs now with that Sunfire should have a nice advantage against Zion Spartan, or at the very least counter push. I think he just doesn't want to get low, so he's not going to push. Pixel trying to get in there. Scar a little bit low, but he does have the blue buff. He can constantly spam, but he is zoned away from the rest of his team, so this is very dangerous for Dignitas right now.
You do have Dignitas actually starting up on the Dragon, but here comes the Shen ult immediately down on the Dominate. They want to keep him safe, headbutt out of the pool, but the Kennen ult getting everybody on that one, and the first blood going to be going to the Lee Sin. He's going to manage to take out the Nocturne, but Graves goes down. Lee Sin also goes down. Taunt coming down onto Para. Double kill there for Ezreal. Pixel and Zion Spartan, they got to get the hell out. They're losing this fight.
And the big thing is that Dignitas, they were able to turn around the aggression. Zion Spartan's still waiting for it. He might go into the headbutt into the Pulverize, but Cutie Pie able to get that flash off, and Scar might go down with this. I'm a Cutie Pie as well. He will probably go down. He's got a couple of ticks left. Oh, he didn't actually get hit from the ultimate. And there's the taunt from Zion Spartan, from Crumbs, trying to chase him down. The slow from Patoy will go down himself, just pushing it a little bit too hard. The taunt, and there's no follow-up. One more Q from Ezreal. Crumbs just barely can't pick up that kill.
Wow, just waiting for those cooldowns, trying to get whatever you can. And granted, yeah, still got the kill on Patoy, but Scar was so low.
Yeah.
Cutie Pie was so low. Oh, and the taunt coming in once again in the mid.
He's
Crumbs
got it.
wants this kill. Can he manage to capitalize? Just trying to get as much health as possible. Kill time for Atlanta to get here. There's the Ezreal ult, not getting what he wanted, but there you go. Nice shield over to the ward in the brush, but Crumbs will be able to actually get to safety and a long enough time killed for Zion Spartan to actually go ahead and regain the health he so needs to stay alive.
Yeah, really nice job from Zion Spartan, kiting out Crumbs there. But the last fight, Scar, he was split off onto the side, but the big thing is they actually ignored him. So I don't know if they didn't realize that he was up there, or if they just didn't care. If they thought maybe he was walking around the blue buff, so they thought he was going to be out of the fight, because Graves was left alone in the back line, and Scar was able to 1v1 Graves, just got off the quick burst, was able to back off for a second, then kill him. And not having Graves in that fight was huge. Zig turning around onto Cutie Pie, though. One more attack, and Cutie Pie just barely able to finish him off.
That
is pretty low himself, but really nice job while 1v1ing in that situation. So the big thing with the fight for Dignitas is Scara took down Graves, and that left Cutie Pie alone. And Cutie Pie was able to win the fight for them. There was no AD carry for Dynamic, so that's always a win. If you can take down the enemy AD carry and leave yours up.
Pixel in a very bad spot right there.
Wow.
That bush is warded. You should know that now. Zion Spartan just trying to get some extra harass, but Pixel's like, okay, well, now we know that bush is warded. We should probably do something about that.
Yeah, so much burst damage over the wall, and Scara is doing fantastically right now. He has a lot of damage. He's playing very safe. We'll see if he builds into that Death Fires, and that's a really aggressive build. You have so much burst damage, but it's also short range, so you need to make sure you can get close enough to use it, and that's going to be a concern against Dynamic. But as long as they can coordinate the fights like the last one and have Scar just completely ignored by Dynamic, then they can win those fights.
Yeah. And he does get pretty close to range just to pull off his combo anyway, so it makes sense. It makes sense that he would go ahead and itemize into it, and that's the thing too with TF, is that after
it's a strong build.
It's a very strong build, but after your initial burst is TF, you're like, now what? Now what do I do?
Well, TF actually, he has very short cooldowns, and that's one of the best things. But yeah, he doesn't have 100% to 0 killing capabilities, and that's his big thing. He has like 50% to 0 killing capabilities. Having that DFG, it puts him a little bit over the edge. It gives him just enough to finish people off.
Yep. Zion Spartan, he had his time farming up top lane. He's going to be coming on down. Crumbs is free to roam, though. His ult is up. He can rejoin the fights whenever he damn well pleases, provided that whoever he's shielding just doesn't, die immediately. But Dynamic, they're taking what they can. They're a little bit behind, though. They are 5K behind in gold, so they're just now trying to find objectives, trying to find ways to come back at this. And they're all just having like a nice little powwow here in mid. It's like, well, should we just keep on pushing this tower? It's what they've been doing here for the past few minutes.
Yeah, it's just going to be very difficult for them.
Yeah.
I think they're waiting for Alistar to maybe get engaged, and if Alistar can force the flash into the headbutt pulverize combo, or just walk up against Skara, try and burst him down, they could maybe pick up a kill. Graves with the smoke screen, so they don't really know what's going on. It's a dangerous situation for Dignitas, and they poke it down a little bit, but both Ezreal and Shen were split pushing in the meantime, so Dynamic really has to sit back. They can't allow that split push to continue. They're 5k gold behind. I think the big concern for them is that Dynamic, they want to stick together as a team because they don't want Dignitas to pick them off. And as long as they're pushing mid, they're forcing TF to sit mid and not allowing him to leave and pick up kills. And right now, Dignitas, with their 5k gold advantage, almost 6k, 2.5k, 5.5k. Oh, I went down there. They will, by keeping TF mid, they will be able to prevent him from trying to get any further kills.
Yeah, but during that entire time, you do have Ezreal. You have two champs here split pushing, one of which can just rejoin the fight instantly. And it's not, Dynamic cannot keep this up. If they continue to try and pressure here in the mid, they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose something. They're gonna lose top tier 1. They could very well lose bot tier 2 if things go terribly wrong. But yeah, Dignitas just clears the waves too quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be very strong. So we'll see how that's going to work. I think the big thing is that Dynamic, they just want to sit back and play defensively. And by sitting mid, it does allow them to continue to farm. And it allows Zion Spartan to get further and further into his build. He has the Hex Tech now. If he can finish a Rabadon's or a Zhonya's, then he's going to be very strong. Going with the Merc Treads, actually. So to avoid some of that aggression and not allow himself to get picked off. So we'll see how that's going to continue. The big thing is, again, keeping the ADs farmed when the game's stalling off like this. Ezreal going with the magic resist actually doesn't want to get burst down by Vladimir at all. But we'll see where he builds from there if he's just going to go for a quick QSS.
I think QSS makes sense, but not headbutt through their Skara with the flash away, just getting there right in time. Para just wanted to go around the corner, see if the Skara decided to stick around, and alas, he did not. So he will be fine. And Crumbs pushing that lane. You gotta push the lane. But here you go, Dragon. Dynamic is here. Nocturne with the ult on it. Shen ult to follow up with it as well. Lee Sin does manage to grab it. Paradoxical with the ult up. Only going to be getting Skara in his grasp. But meanwhile, in the pit, you still have a huge fight going on. Pixel, he's just trying to get out alive and does manage to get knocked out. But Cutie Pie there, combined with the taunt, will actually get that kill. Atlanta finding out Lulu. Going to take her out. And Skara just playing on the edge. Danger zone. Going to be evading that wave. But Para is getting very low. Zion Spartan is almost going down. But Crumbs, he's a boss. He's a tank. He's going to get to what he wants. There you go. And the ult coming from Skara in the bush. It is nothing, and Atlanta is the only one left. All the vision necessary. Cutie Pie, one more shot. You can do it. Never mind, the tower can do it for you.
Yeah, really nice play from Dignitas there. And the big thing is they're able to kite and just constantly kite and fall back. Against an AoE team, that's the best way to win a fight. If they can't hit their AoE on everyone, then they just don't have enough damage usually. And so you saw that. Everyone getting kind of low for Dignitas, but they're able to kite and constantly retreat. That's TF's strength, that's Ezreal's strength.
Yep.
And so not being able to take down TF or Ezreal early on allows them to just win the fight. You saw Zion Spartan was trying to duel with Cutie Pie for a little bit, but can't win that matchup. Dignitas, they're able to grab the turret. Pixel actually very close to going down himself, but he will be able to back off. Paradoxical trying to chase him down, but can't quite get in range.
Yep.
And so, it's just an easy one fight for Dignitas.
Yeah, it was a 5-for-1.
Yeah.
It was a 5-for-1. Granted, Dynamic still did get the dragon, but I mean, look at the spiral out you're getting in here from Dignitas is just a little bit too crazy to handle. But are they gonna do it? Are they gonna rush it? They may very well, clearing out the wards, and there you go, Dynamic. This is a little bit of a desperation move. They know everyone from Dignitas did have to back. They were a little bit weak, so might as well just go ahead and try and force this Baron. The TF ult is actually back up, and Skara actually not actually in the pit. He decides to come in right over on the ledge, but you look at this positioning here from Dynamic, they realize that the harassment over the cliff is a very real possibility.
Yeah, and Cutie Pie is almost out of mana, so it's a good opportunity for Dynamic, but they're just a little too low. Zion Spartan is almost dead, so as a result, they have to play really defensively right now. Dignitas can force them out. Dignitas might be able to force a Baron of their own in this opportunity. Zion Spartan is recalling right now, and so Dynamic wants to stall him off. Crumbs with the taunt onto Paradoxical, and then actually Nocturne with the fear. He will be headbutted away, so they can back off, but they're all very, very low, just waiting for Alistar. There's the Shen taunt, the Lulu ultimate as well for the follow-up. Zion Spartan is up here, but he is very low, so they get some AoE damage, but not enough to pick up kills. Cutie Pie with the one kill, and then they can chase them back and grab this Baron.
Very, very well done. You see the poke possibilities there coming in from Dignitas is just such a beautiful thing. And plus, Crumbs, Shen, the synergy he has with that Lulu is like, well, I'm going to taunt in. You guys are all focusing me anyway. How'd you like to go for a ride? By the way, I'm a ninja, but I also double as a trampoline. Works pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, so a really nice combination there. The Lulu ult was pretty cool onto Shen, but they'll back off. They're not actually going for the Baron. A little bit concerned about the follow-up from Dynamic and whether or not they had enough time to kill it. They would have had kind of a slow Baron, but we'll see. With Nocturne, it's going to be pretty fast, so they will have a lot of potential there. And Ezreal just getting the momentum on the bottom lane once again, pushing back, will force the creeps, and then they can maybe pressure it again. And having that Baron open, it opens up opportunities. However, Skara is very low on mana, which means he's not going to be able to poke him down. He's not going to have that spam ability. And Dynamic, they are forcing the Baron once again, and Dignitas once again is not ready for it.
Round number 2, Dynamic trying to get what they can. Ezreal is not with the fight, and you also have a very low mana Scar, like you were mentioning before. But Crumbs, he's out on the outskirts. If he gets a money taunt, this could be huge. Zion Spartan, he's in the middle of it. The Fear Tether is actually still going in through the pool. Zion Spartan is actually still feared. Nocturne going to go ahead and take care of him. The rest of the Dynamic in a very huge clump down here by the blue. But Cutie Pie going around the flank. The taunt Crumbs trying to just finish off what he can. Kennen trying to get the stun onto Cutie Pie, but not going to get it. And nice kill on Alistar. Ezreal is indeed legendary, doing very well for himself. And now is the damage here. Can Dignitas actually do it this time?
Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
they can.
5v2, they've got it easily. And the big thing with that last fight, Skara was able to draw a blue card in the lane to get himself just enough mana to spam a little bit. Atlanta actually zoning a little bit. He wants to see if he can get in, but there aren't any opportunities.
Literally,
Skara chasing him down, throws off the ultimate. He wants to pick up a kill. He will be coming, down for the blue. So they both get out of there. Atlanta almost going down. The Ignite, there is no, I'm sorry,
that
the
tower,
TF ultimate.
Atlanta, the tower's not going to help you. It's not going to help you. Lulu grabbing that one. Very well done.
And you saw in the previous fight, can he get it? Dominate has it. The
Fear,
nice. Paradoxical trying to get out of the Nocturne ultimate, but there's the headbutt pulverized Shen as well with the ultimate Pixel, or Paradoxical getting out of there with Pixel's help. But Shen is just such a beast. And you saw in the previous fight, Crumbs was able to chase away the entire Dynamic team by himself while the rest of his team picked off Vladimir. And Dynamic just couldn't fight them. Shen was just too strong. So Dignitas, they're able to grab the Baron. They can back off now. They have a huge gold advantage. They have a couple of items to build. Ezreal, in particular, he's looking at his gold, his pocketbook. He wants to burn a hole in it. But now they can come, pressure Dynamic a little bit more and try and take this game.
Yeah, how about a Bloodthirster and a Zeal? That's a pretty good purchase. That's pretty good. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. And also, just look at the gold. Look at the gold spread here for Dignitas. They're ridiculously far ahead in the lead. Shen's got 10k. Ezreal's got 10k. Scar is going to be there very soon. And among like the top carries here for Dynamic, I mean, you look at Graves. He's far behind. You look at Vladimir. Even at that early purchase, that early Heart of Gold, just started setting things in motion for Shen from the very start.
Yeah, and having that huge gold lead on a champion like Shen, it really exacerbates the issue of him being so tanky, because he can just dive at you. He's already tanky, but now you don't have the damage to take him down. And so he's just unkillable, basically. He will back off. They are grabbing the dragon, but he might actually chase down Graves. He has vision of him. He has the taunt if he decides to go in for it. Maybe he'll just wait for his team, wait for Skara. Skara not quite in range, but there's the TF ultimate. They can pick up the kill on Zig. And this might be GG. Zig just recognizing that he was, kind of doomed there. They will be able to push in.
Nothing you can do to get out of that one. And now with the dragon killed as well, Dignitas can just go ahead and take any objective they want. There's the flash. There's the ult. I think that is actually the surrender coming on in, and there you go. So game number 3 going to be going to Dignitas here. They need one more to go ahead and take the IPL Elites, take the champ bracket. And remember, too, first place is a $3,000 prize pool. 2,000 of that going to first, 700 to second.
Oh, I was hoping you would say some nice charity, like Miracle Foundation.
They have that option.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell them what they can do with their money.
We'll see how Dynamic can kind of respond. Once again, it is a best of 5. So
Yes.
Dignitas, if they win the next game, they're the victors. They're able to take the elite tournament. Dynamic, if they win the next game, it will go to a 5th game. So 1-2 right now. Dignitas with a nice lead over Dynamic, able to turn it around after the first loss to Dynamic, where Dynamic just stomped them. Dignitas with 2 wins in a row. So really nice play.
Very well done. We're going to go ahead and get the 4th game coming on up. If Dignitas takes this next one, they are the victors. $2,000 in their pocket. It's a pretty good deal. We'll be back in just a moment. IPL Elites Champ Bracket, Dynamic Dignitas Game 4 coming on up.